Hello, and welcome to the Arts of Language podcast with Andrew Pudewa, founder of the Institute for Excellence in Writing, or as many like to say, IEW. My name is Julie Walker, and I'm honored to serve Andrew and IEW as the Director of Marketing. Our goal is to equip teachers and teaching parents with methods and materials which will aid them in training their students to become confident and competent communicators and thinkers. Andrew Pudewa.
Julie Walker.
This is episode 199.
And that means that you and I have been sitting across this table for almost 4 years, churning out these things at one a week. Is it possible?
Well, I can say truthfully that I have sat in this chair for nearly 4 years. You, on the other hand...
That's right. I missed a few, didn't I?
You missed a few. It's like, where's Andrew? Well, we better find someone else.
And those were some good ones, too, when Andrew was away.
That was fun. Yeah, those were very fun. So we have a special announcement to make today.
Yes.
So we've been doing this for 4 years.
Is it time to take a break?
It is time to take a break. It is time to take a break. And there's a couple reasons why it's good to take a break right now.
Are these top secret reasons?
Are you ready for the big secret reason? Okay, no, this is probably true confession, some of these things. So some of our most popular podcasts were our early ones. For example, our number one podcast was The Four Language Arts.
Really? That's the number one listen to?
Yes. And that was episode 2.
Episode 2.
Right. And we actually spent several weeks on this where we introduced the four language
Each of the
art.
four.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I'm glad that's the most popular because it's probably some of the most important as well.
Yes. And actually, the second most popular podcast, I'm embarrassed to say, is episode 1. And the only reason I say I'm embarrassed, it was a great episode. It was basically the mission and founder of IEW. And I had a conversation with you, and we just talked about why does IEW even exist and why are you doing this really important thing that we're doing. But what I'm embarrassed about is I was so nervous. And actually every week I'm a little nervous sitting in the same room as Andrew Pudewa, interviewing him. And I just stuttered a lot, and it just sounded so awkward.
Well, you've gotten so much better over 4 years. You just look like it's natural. It's old hat for you now.
Well, it's definitely gotten a lot easier over the years. But here's one of the reasons we're taking a break right now. And that is my own projection of what other people must be thinking, as evidenced by the fact that our most popular episodes are our earlier ones. We have lots of people when we go to conventions say, oh, I listen to your podcast. It's so fun. And sometimes people will say, wait, I'm going to close my eyes. Now say something. And they'll go, oh, you're Julie Walker, which cracks me up because it's like, oh, it's not about me. But I know that when I find a podcast that I really like to listen to, I want to go back to the very beginning.
But you can't because there's new episodes faster than you can practically listen to them.
Exactly. And so I become overwhelmed, and then I just want to give up. Oh, I can't listen to them all. So
it's kind of like taking a break between courses in a meal, right?
Right.
Because if you just eat all of it too much too fast, or you have to skip something, so it's okay.
Yes.
Take a break, cleanse the palate.
We are discontinuing these podcasts, not for my sake, but for listeners like me who want to listen to them all. 200 is a lot of podcasts to listen to.
And knowing which ones are the best?
Yes. And here's what's going to happen when we finally do release episode 200. And we've already recorded it.
Yes,
it's
a good one.
Andrew
it's a very
anything.
good one.
Yes, we're very excited about that. That one's not coming out until January 1st, 2020.
January 1st.
January 1st, 2020. And so between now and the rest of this year, we've got 24 weeks of Arts of Language Podcast Greatest Hits.
Greatest Hits. And there's precedent for reruns.
Yes.
I mean, actually, all the best shows had reruns.
Absolutely.
And I remember watching certain Star Trek shows again and again and again
Yes.
as a kid.
Yes.
And sometimes it's good just to revisit. The other thing that surprises me, and I bet some of the listeners would have the same experience, I will have people who come to a talk at a convention and say, I heard you give this talk 2 years ago in such and such a place.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, well, why did you come back to hear it again? Or I'll ask, oh, well, thank you for coming. And they'll say, no, I heard so many things this time I didn't hear the first time.
Right.
So there's layers to it. So I would hope and expect that if we play the best of the podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
people who maybe did hear it 2 or 3 or 4 years ago will be able to hear it in a different way,
Right.
pick up different, possibly helpful details that they didn't the first time around.
So this is just a short little announcement letting our listeners know
We're not dying.
we're not tying.
We're not giving up.
No.
We have not fallen on our sword. We are not talked out. We're just taking a breather
Yes.
so that you can too.
Yes, exactly. So as we take this break right now, you had a great idea that our listeners can help us out with.
Well, I think it would be interesting to invite people to email us at podcast@iew.com. Is that right?
Exactly.
With suggestions.
Right.
Are there some people that you might like me to interview?
Mm-hmm.
Are there some aspects of the writing program that you would like me to elaborate on? Are there certain dynamics in teaching the language arts at home that haven't been addressed, or that have been, but with an added dimension? So anyone who can and would like to send a suggestion to us, and the worst thing that can happen is we'll ignore it. The best thing is everyone will benefit from that suggestion.
Absolutely.
Especially us. So
Yep.
please do. Podcast@iew.com, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Yep. All right. And until we talk again in January, thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you all.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, you can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, or just visit us each week at iew.com/podcasts. Until then, on behalf of Andrew Pudewa and the team at IEW, I thank you for the privilege of allowing us to partner with you on your journey toward better listening, speaking, reading, writing,